you coming through the door. You fill the room with joy. I could be a honey pie and save the world on the side just to see you smile. I would rather be with you, even if it means I'm through chasing glory, fame and wealth. I would not be by myself. I would rather be with you, even if it means I'm through chasing glory, fame and wealth. I would not be by myself.
Hello everybody, so last video out we covered the tenoning jig for the table saw. Very useful tool, very handy tool. If you did not see that video or those two or you're brand new on this video, I will put links to them. There'll be a couple cards that pop up so you guys can see those. So today we're going to turn these three pieces of wood into a crosscut sled. Now crosscut sleds, there are some beautiful ones, amazing ones that people on YouTube make. Really nice stuff, but we are no frills, no fancy. We're going to make it nice, but we're going to make it more functional than pretty. That's more important to me than anything. It could be the most beautiful thing in the world, but if it doesn't function well, it ain't worth a shit. So anyway, you want to take the hardest wood that you have available to you in your shop if you're going to use wooden runners. This is a piece of mahogany, 5/4 mahogany. So we're going to use that, and then we have two pieces of 3/4 inch maple plywood that we're going to be using. Just want to make a note here that yes, this is cabinet grade plywood, but cabinet grade plywood, I've said it the last few videos, is not as good as it used to be. If you really want years and years worth of use out of these, and we're going to get a long time out of these, but I'm talking a real long time, you want to go with like the Baltic birch plywood. It's guaranteed not to have any voids in it. These pieces, I already noticed when I cut, there's a couple voids here and there, which is very irritating, especially for the cost of this stuff. But it's still going to be, it's still better than CDX plywood, and it's still going to be just fine for what we're doing. So, and the other thing, the way they usually store them in these lumber yards, they only have a couple bunks on the cribbing that they put in the bins that they use to store the skids of plywood. That leaves you a little bit of dip in there, so you've got to take that into account when you're putting this stuff together, because if this stuff's bowed or anything like that, or it's twisted, it's going to be a real nightmare for you guys to, or for any of us to get this to cut square and to get it to cut right. The beauty of a crosscut sled is I don't care for miter saws too much when I'm doing cabinet work. I'd rather use the table saw, especially if you set this upright. You really don't get much tear out on the back side of the cut. You don't get those fuzzies that you get on your miter saw, even with a really good blade on it. So, and the secret of that is when you run this through your table saw, it's giving you an exact blade curve. So you have a good positive stop on the underside of that piece, so when the saw blade tears through, it doesn't chip it out so much. If you set these up right and you do them right, they're super, super accurate. And it's just one of those things where you set it and forget it, and they're just beautiful. So, a couple of things worth mentioning here. We mentioned it on the dado sled. When you make these runners, make sure you don't have any slop in those grooves. You can't have any slop there. That's really important, because what will happen is that sled will shuck a little bit on you, and it's just going to ruin your day. Okay, we are ready to wreak a little havoc here. Let's see what happens. Probably what we'll do, we'll get this thing set on there. First warped friggin' plywood, I hate that. Anyway, we'll get this set on there, and then while the spray adhesive is setting up enough to where we can pull it off with the table saw, we will do some work on the fence. Now I will caution you, using this stuff, careful, try not to get it on the sides of the rails. I do that all the time, and boy, it becomes a real pain trying to get this thing tuned in. Because what will happen, don't need to tell you, it sticks badly. So I get the nozzle really close. This stuff is really sticky shit. Of course, I got one dribble. See, all that carefulness. Get one dribble on there. See what happens. Say that a lot, don't we? Now just try to get it as square to the table as you can. I like it. Get this out of your way. I'll throw a couple weights on it. Too shabby, guys. There. Ha! Well, she doesn't know, won't hurt me. All right. Let's see. I screw the hell out of these things. Don't forget to countersink them. And I'm just using some little Phillips head sheet metal screws. You want to make sure you're definitely not going to go through the top. These are 5/8 inch long. We should be just fine on them. Another thing might not be a bad idea, and I probably better do it while I'm thinking of it. Get yourself a pencil line along there so that when you put your screws in, you're not running them in crooked and that gets off on you. So if it gets off on you, this thing will not work. That's a lot better. Okay, now I did cheat and put a couple screws in the top to hold it because I didn't want to wait all night for the glue, because I went to work on the fence and realized that I need the table saw to complete that part of it. Now, what do we got going? I knocked something a little out of whack. I don't mind this doing this to me either, guys, because I'd rather have to work this thing in. So if you have trouble getting this to slide, and everything's way too tight, which I made this very tight, and that was done on purpose. Of course, that's what I'm going to tell you guys. If you don't have a scraper card to scrape that down, use a really good sharp chisel. Make sure you get it square on there, and just very easily go uniform all the way down, and just scrape tiny little layers off until it all fits. You don't want to do a lot, because remember, like I said, this really depends on having a nice tight fit to it. We are not quite there yet. We're close. Up here slides halfway decent, so we've got to work towards the top a little bit more. And that little bit there, that could be caused by your plywood not being perfectly flat, which this one is not yet until we get our stretchers on there. Or our fence, I should say. Things could get off a little bit after you screwed it in. Actually, it looks like I'm catching on the outside a little bit. Yes, this is very painstaking. I'd even call it a pain in the ass. Well, my plan was to get this thing completely done tonight for you guys, or today, and it just plain didn't happen. So we tried, but I spent 2 hours on these rails just scraping them down, trying to get them right. It's moving a lot better than it was, and I'm going to let it wear in the rest of the way. But it's really not too bad. It'll definitely wear in. It's catching a little bit on each end. Probably when I screwed them down, it probably moved those rails just a little bit. But it's not that bad. We may scrape some more down tomorrow, but like I said, I have I've pretty well had it for tonight. I've got to go in and edit this yet, but so that's how you properly bed these rails in here. It is a patience game. You have to be really patient with it. So say you go in there and they're not fitting like these where you really kind of have to scrape them down. If you sand them down, you may not keep it nice and square. So then those rails are going to wear unevenly, and then it's going to create slop in this sled. Slop in these sleds and not having the fence square are your two biggest issues if you're using these. I tell you what are really nice are the pre-manufactured rails that you can screw in. They have adjustments for that kind of thing. Not too bad, but we just don't have that, and this is we're kind of going by what most of you might have. We're trying to do this minimum cost tool wise. That's not to say we don't want proper tools, because proper tools just make it all easier, but we're still trying to do this minimally. Now, one other thing, I've been getting berated in the comments about push sticks and why I don't use them. I do use push sticks. I use them quite often. And let me find my other one here. Usually if I'm a few inches away from the saw blade, I'm perfectly comfortable running that piece through there. But if I get down into like pieces like these rails like we had tonight, I'll use a piece of scrap. Now I always keep a roll of emery cloth in the shop. And what I'll do is I'll take my spray adhesive and glue a little strip of emery cloth on there, right on the end. Did the same on that one. That way, when I'm running those mahogany rails through here, I don't need my hands anywhere on that, because that's only 3/4 of an inch in between the blade and the fence at that point, and that's way too close for me. If I get under like say under the 3-inch range, where my fingers, or if I move my knuckles just right or something like that, you can catch that blade. Really not into that, so that's when we use stuff like that. I had everybody telling me, you need to buy them, you need to buy them. Guys, you don't need to buy shit sometimes. Sorry for putting it that way, but I'm just kind of tired. That $10 push stick or $5 push stick you can make for pretty well for free. And these work just as well. I'd actually rather have these with some emery cloth glued on them than most of the plastic stuff, things like that you could buy. All you need is a piece of scrap or two out of your shop. You know, that's the whole idea of doing some of this stuff, is you want to enjoy it, you don't want to break the budget, and that's where I'm at. I mean, obviously I want the more tools the better. I love having tools. Tools are a wonderful thing, and as a guy or anybody doing stuff like this, you can never have too many. And I'm quite lucky to have a lot of the tools that I have, so, but like I said, little things like that, they could just eat you up on a project, and you don't even think about it because it's so cheap at the time, but there does come a time when you do have to spend a little bit of money, because, you know, let's face it, sometimes you screw around homemade stuff so much, you spend more time screwing around trying to make that homemade stuff work better for you, and you're not getting to do any of your projects. So there is a balance point there, but there's some things you don't need to worry about buying if you can make it yourself. I mean, these things right here take me about 5 minutes to make, and this thing will last the whole project. And then by the time I get to the next one, I may have to make new ones, but it's not a big deal. Roll of emery cloth from your local hardware store, what, $5-6? So and how many of those push sticks can you make with that? So you got to think of things like that. So anyway, enough of my rambling. We're going to finish this off tomorrow. And also, I'm very excited about this. I have all the parts to rebuild my bandsaw. So we're going to be getting that out here this week. Get the bandsaw out, and I'm going to show you, we'll walk you through replacing bearings and all that good stuff. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.